In the middle of Maine, there is a big lake among the mountains. You can get there after traveling for many hours from the starting point. People in the area call it going in. When you have gone in, you understand why it is not right to say you went through the woods or to your destination. You find that you have entered a new world, a world very different from the one you live in. It is a world of wild, serious, empty beauty, a world with a lot of space and silence. This world makes you feel small and quiet, but also charms you in a way you cannot resist. And after you leave that world, you will often miss it and want to go back to it, like a child missing home. In this wild place, there is a fancy summer hotel with electric bells and meals with 7 courses. The guests at the hotel dress up 3 times a day. The hotel is on a small flat area, separated from the rest of the land by a big rocky cliff. It seems out of place in the beautiful, wild nature. Leatherstocking, a character from old stories, would probably want to burn down such an insult to nature. But it is a good hotel, and people go there to enjoy the fresh air of the great woods. On the beach near this hotel, where the canoes were lined up, there stood a young man with curly hair one summer morning. He was not very young, and his cheeks were red as he looked at his own canoe, which was on the beach, filled with fishing rods, a landing net, and a lunch basket. He then looked at another canoe, which was going down the lake with a young man and a young woman in it. Dropped again, Mr. Morpeth? The young man looked up and saw a girl laughing at him. She was sitting on the edge of the dock. She looked like she was between being a child and a woman. Her face and body were like a grown woman's, but her clothes made her look like a girl. You would think she was a girl because she was doing something a young lady should not do, but was okay for a tomboy. She had taken off her canvas shoe and was shaking small stones out of it. There was a small hole in her black stocking, showing a bit of her pink toe. The girl was sunburnt, but her toe was nicely pink. Your sister, said the young man seriously, was supposed to go fishing with me, but she remembered at the last moment that she had another plan with Mr. Brown. She didn't, said the girl. I heard them make the plan last evening after you went upstairs. The young man forgot himself. She's the most heartless flirt in the world. He cried and clenched his hands. She is that, said the girl on the dock, and more. And yet, you still want her, right? I'm afraid I do, said the young man sadly. Well, said the girl, putting her shoe on again and tying it, I'll tell you what, Mr. Morpeth. You have been following Pauline for a year, and you are the only one of the men she keeps around who has not ignored me. Now, if you want, I can help you. A what? A help. You are wasting your time. Pauline does not care about love. It is like a common thing to her for 5 years now. There is only one way to get her attention. 2 men tried it, and they almost succeeded, but they were not brave enough to finish. I think you are brave, and I will tell you how. You need to make her jealous. Make her jealous of me? No, said the girl with a lot of scorn. Make her jealous of another girl. Oh! Men are so stupid. The young man thought for a moment. Well, Flossie, he began, and then he noticed that the girl was looking at him with a very cold stare. Miss Flossie, Miss Belton, he quickly corrected himself. The cold look in Miss Flossie Belton's face quickly changed to a warm smile. Your plan, he continued, is a good one. Only it needs finding another girl. Yes, agreed Miss Flossie happily. Well, said the young man, don't you think if I suddenly started liking one of the other young ladies I have ignored before, it would look fake? Yes, said Miss Flossie quickly and honestly, especially because none of them are good enough to flirt with. Well, then, where do I find the girl? Miss Flossie untied and retied her shoe. Then she said, calmly, what about she paused for a second, me? With you. Mr. Morpeth was surprised and forgot his manners. Yes, Mr. Morpeth just stared. Maybe, said Miss Flossie, I'm not pretty enough? You're pretty enough, replied Mr. Morpeth, calming down for anything, and he put strong feeling into the last word as he looked at her closely for the first time. But aren't you a bit young? How old do you think I am? Asked Flossie. I know. Your sister told me. You're 16. 16, repeated Miss Flossie with a lot of scorn. Yes, and I'm the kind of 16 that stays 16 until your older sister is married. I was 18 years old last December 3rd. Unless they started lying to me before I was old enough to know the difference, it would be just like Mama to play a trick on me like that, she said, thinking. 18 years old, said the young man. Wow! Do not think he was a rude young man. He was just surprised, and he had more surprises ahead. He thought for a moment. Well, he said, what's your plan? I am to notice you. Yes, said Miss Flossie calmly, and to flirt with me for fun. And may I ask what you will do when I notice you? Sure, replied Flossie. I am going to show you off. To show me off? Yes, like a prize. Let you hang around and laugh at you. Oh, really? Don't be hurt in your pride. You might as well face it. You don't think Pauline is in love with you, do you? No, groaned the young man. But you have lots of money. Mr. Brown has even more. You are eager. Brown is shy. That's why Brown is in the boat and you are here on the shore, talking to little sister. Now if little sister likes you, she's just taking big sister's leftovers. It's all in the family, and there's no jealousy, and Pauline can focus on Brown. There. Don't look so sad. You men are so childish. Now, after you've asked me to marry you. Oh, I'm to ask you to marry me? Yes. Don't be scared. I won't accept you. But then you are to go around sad and hang around even more. Then big sister will see she can't take that from little sister, and then that's your chance. Oh, that's my chance, is it? Said Mr. Morpeth. He seemed to keep repeating things. There's your only chance, said Miss Flossie firmly. Mr. Morpeth thought. He looked at the lake, where there was no more sign of the canoe, and he looked at Miss Flossie, who sat calm, confident, and carefree on the dock. I don't know how possible, he began. It's possible, said Miss Flossie firmly. Of course Pauline will write to Mama, and of course Mama will write and scold me. But she has to stay in New York and take care of Papa's gout, and the Miss Reddingtons are the only chaperones we have here, and they don't matter, so I don't care. But why? Asked the young man, sounding like he was ready to follow Miss Flossie's idea completely. Why should you take so much trouble for me? Mr. Morpeth, said Miss Flossie. Seriously, I'm 2 years late on my plan, and I've got to get my freedom or die. And besides, she added, if you are nice, it won't be such a big trouble. Mr. Morpeth laughed. I'll try to make it as little boring as possible, he said, holding out his hand. The girl did not take it. Don't make any mistake, she warned him, looking closely at his face. This isn't going to be a little girl game. Little sister doesn't want any kind, elegant, stuck-up encouragement from big sister's young man. It's got to be a real flirt, lots of attention, and 10 times as much as Pauline could ever get from you, and you've got to try very, very hard. The young man smiled. I'll try hard, he said, but are you sure you can try hard too? Well, I think so, replied Miss Flossie. Pauline will make a big fuss, but if she goes too far, I'll tell my age and hers too. Mr. Morpeth looked at Miss Flossie's calm face. Then he held out his hand again. It's a deal, as far as I'm concerned, he said. This time a soft and small hand shook his with a firm, friendly, honest grip. And I'll say no when you ask me to marry you, said Miss Flossie.